Amazon has said from the beginning that they were more interested in establishing this as a massive franchise. And that's where I think we need to look at this positively. That while we would love Brad to be a part of this, all of us would. From when we first did this last summer, a year and a half ago, all of three of us and everybody following and all of the new channels and all the people that are talking about it have said the same thing. We all love Brad, but we all want Stargate. And we know that those two may not meet. So
not for the next chapter.
I don't know. You know what? And I got to be honest, this is where talking to the four different people, I get very different stories. And so considering that this infrastructure just happened, I think we don't make any conclusions about that. I think we just look at
a different chapter where Brad just plays a different part.
Exactly.
And hopefully he has some kind of involvement, and the world that he helped to create doesn't go away. Part of the concern, I think, part of our preoccupation with Brad as fans is not just we love him as a writer and as a creator, right?
Right.
The Shrine, Abyss. I mean, come on. Yeah. But also, we love the world that he made, and we don't want to reboot.
He's the symbol of that tangent of Stargate canon from the feature film.
Exactly.
And they could just be done with it and say, okay, what we're going to do next is a different tangent.
And they could. And, you know, look, we've said this from the very beginning when we talked about this last year, that every time we hear a rumor or we talk about it, that's true at that moment. So when we talked about the fact that Brad was having meetings with the MGM, that was happening after the sale. But nothing came of it. And so his pilot, that series, like I said, was part of an equation that no longer exists. So let's look at what does exist. Amazon wants this franchise to be a massive franchise, and they're looking at three different ways that this can happen. You start with a film, and it goes to a series. They are very interested, and I know, David, I think you're going to list the articles in the description. But this is the Movie Web article, which is, honestly, it was also the Deadline article.
Got it. I've got Amazon Movie Web article up.
Has committed $1 billion to theatrical events content. Part of what was quoted by Mike Hopkins, who's above Jen Salka, was Stargate. But he listed all of their franchises. So I don't think we can...
When the deal went through, he listed basically all the big high-profile MGM franchises.
Exactly. And he just repeated that with this new news.
Yep, good.
So I think this was, I can't remember, this was 2 weeks ago.
November 23rd,
Yeah.
So what did they say in this? That Amazon wants to put like 4 movies in the theaters every year? Something like that?
Well, right. So, and what they want to do, I think the number is important. It's $1 billion a year. So let's look at that in context. Netflix spent $6 billion over the past 2 years on new content. Amazon's looking at $1 billion a year just for theatrical content.
8 to 10 films.
And I think that's what they're looking at. So
that's great.
That's one of the ways this could happen. Okay, it could be a film, and I'm not getting into who would write it, what canon. It would be a film, and they would then want a series to back that up. The second way they could do this is that it is a series, and we start with a series, and one of the reasons they would do a series would be one of two reasons. You've got content on the table already. There are rumors that there is other content from the Expanse writers. There's rumors that there is other content from the Boys Group production company. I've literally, like I said, it's all very messy. So I think what we need to look at there is if a series gets started, we don't know who would be brought in, but we do know this. It is unlikely that Amazon, if you look at their history, is going to cut out the fan base in the existing canon based on what they've done in the past. So for instance, looking at what they want to do with MGM when they've talked about RoboCop, what they want to do with MGM when they've talked about Legally Blonde. They're not going to throw out the canon completely on these. They're not going to throw out the universe of these when these are ones that are, one of them's already in production. So I think we can feel comfortable, especially with Jen Salka and others who would be in charge of this. They're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. What it looks like, I have no idea, because like I said, there seems to be literally 3 different lookbook content Bibles on the table right now.
But a cold, fresh start is not, at this point, very likely, based on what you're reading in the tea leaves.
That's my third option. And this is where I don't know. The third option would be they would do a complete reboot, start from fresh, have it be on MGM Plus, and it's its own thing. That doesn't mean that the others wouldn't happen, but that could be the third option if they think that that is something that they can financially get going quickly. I mean, remember, Brereton and Michael Wright are going to be looking at what content can we populate MGM Plus with the fastest. Mm-hmm. And that will be existing catalog, and that will be new content, and that will be content they buy. And I think one of the hard parts about this is that Amazon, as you know, a number of other people have talked about recently, so I'm not going to redo this. David, you've talked about this. Darren, you wrote a whole bunch of articles. Sidetracked actually did a great breakdown of this. Amazon doesn't necessarily create its own content. And so all of this also depends on who do they go to, what's their idea. And like I said, there's 3 or 4 rumors and people who have quote unquote seen things that I've talked to on the table, which are all over the place. It covers the spectrum. It is a movie that goes into a series. It's a brand new series. It's a complete reboot. It's living in the universe, but explores people we never, it's crazy. And when you look at the conversations about what's happening at DC, and I think that there are parallels here. There's a TikTok, and I'm so sorry, I'm blanking. I will get back to you. But there's a guy who did a TikTok that is absolutely brilliant in 60 seconds, where he says, "Hey, so James Gunn, so happy that you're here, so happy that you're on board. But we just need to go through the list of things that you need to make sure that you do." And then he goes through the list of, okay, so we have a Batman that's a standalone, but then we don't want to, piss off Joaquin Phoenix. And then we have 3 Jokers. And then he goes through the whole thing. And then we have Suicide Squad, but we love your first one, not so keen about the second one. So we like these, but we don't like
Green
these.
Lantern, please.
I know,
oh my gosh.
Oh my God. I know. I would love a Green Lantern. I would flip over Green Lantern. And then we love Gal Gadot, but we don't like 84. So we have to retcon that. And I'll get you guys the link. It is a 60 seconds where I keep watching it because I just start crying. I'm laughing so hard.
But they've got so much in play, so many balls in the air, with so many different creators behind it. Some are still, there, some are out. It's like, what do you do?
And this is, I think, what encourages me about this is, I want to repeat, Michael Wright, Chris Brereton, Chris Ottinger, and a couple of others that have now been absorbed into Amazon, where they are reporting directly to the people who are going to make the decisions, and they themselves are making decisions about what content is going to be on Prime Video. Chris Brereton's in charge of corporate strategy for Prime Video. Part of that strategy is franchise management. So what franchises? Obviously, Stargate is one of those, and it's been listed as one.
It's been listed.
Right now, based on what I've heard, my guess is that if they can do it, they want to start with a movie and go to a series. And they really genuinely want to make this a tentpole franchise. Cool. What that content is, I'm hearing, like I said, from one end of the spectrum to the other.
Thanks for watching this clip from Dial the Gate. You can find the full live stream shows on our YouTube channel or visit dialthegate.com for the complete schedule. See you on the other side.